Up now is the Brindlee Mountain Lions and Coach Keith Garner. And I've known Coach a long, long time. Coach about 5 seasons now with the Brindlee Mountain Lions. I think 18, 19 as a head football coach.
Yeah. I quit counting.
You quit counting. You're like me. You quit count birthdays too, didn't you?
Yeah.
So tell us about the 2020 Brindlee Mountain Lions, and then we'll have some questions for you from the media.
Well, you know, that's a $1 million question, and you know, I just left the practice field a little while ago, and the group of kids we got, I really feel good about them. It's a small group, and you're talking about a challenge. Telling your kids that are scattered for miles that there are no buses running. Telling the kids you've got to find your way. The old days of coaches going around and picking kids up are out. We're not allowed to do that anymore. And so we're getting small numbers, but we're getting kids who've been there before, who've gone through drills before, who've got a little consistency about them, and you know, I really feel good, but at the same time, it's really cautious because we've got 3 weeks of no buses, 3 weeks of telling the kids they've got to find a way here, 3 weeks of kids working and helping support their families in a lot of ways, a lot of times, and so it's a challenge. I like our kids, but at the same time, I sure wish we had those big yellow dogs up and running. It'd make my life a whole lot easier. And you know, I really enjoyed Coach talking a minute ago, and he mentioned with age all the things that he had seen through the years, and he mentioned you were there with him, and you know, he's still a little bit younger than I am. I think I'm the only one that's been through the Great Depression. He's seen a lot of things, but I've seen a little more. And boy, this is tough on an old man. And you know, it's gotten to that point where my wife's saying, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And she sees me staring off at night, and it's a daily battle. But I'm gonna tell you, I still love it, and I love our kids, and we'll keep moving forward. And Coach had a lot to say about Asbury, and a lot of positive things, and we feel the same way there. And you know, obviously, I don't want to repeat what he talked about with life lessons and where he went from that standpoint. But he was well spoken, and our kids at Brindlee deserve something as well, and hopefully this will be the year where we get it rolling.
Question: about how many players do you think you will have, and about how many are on the team now?
Well, that's again, as he talked about 16 to 20 being there this evening. That sounds a lot like us, and right now we've had honestly a dozen or so kids working consistently throughout the summer, and we had some new kids to show up yesterday, and had some kids we counted on being there not being there, and so it's you know, the small school scenario in this pandemic and this backing school up, this we suffer with this, and we count on buses, and we count on kids being at school, and it's tough, but like Coach talked about earlier, it's a curveball in life. You got to handle and move on. And you know, I looked at my roster this morning before we got there, and you know, I counted 29 kids that had committed to playing football, and gosh almighty, we look up and have half of them there today, and so that's a tough deal, but we are committed to working day in, day out, whoever shows, and just staying with the way we do things, trying to do things the right way, taking drill by drill, day by day, and not getting too far ahead of ourselves, and hopefully it'll work out.
You're talking about how difficult it is right now for players to get to practice, and they're still making it. So just talk about how important having a high school football season is for kids.
Well, I know this. There's no better scenario, no better setup preparing kids for life. And you've heard it. There's no reason to rehash it. But, you know, we try to tell them that piece of metal on the other end with light bulbs in it, that should be the least of our worries. If that alarm clock goes off in the morning and we're able to hit the ground running with our feet on the floor in a good positive direction, trying to accomplish something for the day, then we've done our jobs. And football is life. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, with my age, I am concerned, and I'm concerned about the health and welfare of the people at home who care for these kids. I talked to a lady this morning, and she's struggling with one of her boys that she had to take over, one of our players. And she told me she's 73 years old and is looking out for 4 kids in the house. And those are the people I worry with. I don't worry so much about the kids. You know, they're going to respond, they're going to be, but I worry about their caretakers. And so make no mistake about it, we need football. We need to be in school if we can be there in a safe manner. And boy, there's nothing like the process in building a young man. And we've just got to find that fine line to do it and do it safely.
Coach, kind of piggybacking off that question, everybody obviously is concerned about what's going to happen 2, 3, 6 weeks down the road, getting into the season a month in or whatever. But as of this moment, you can only work with what you have right now.
Right.
You want more numbers, sure, but right now you've got the kids that you've got. What is the focus right now? What does it have to be in your mind when you hit that practice field?
It still goes back, and you've heard it a million times. We've all heard it. Fundamentals, day in, day out. It's fundamentals, and learning to move around and go 100 miles an hour in a drill, and never walking on the field, understanding the nuances of the position, playing with great effort. You know, it's the simplest of things. And everything we do, we're going to try to simplify even more, and maybe give the illusion of being a little more complex than it really is. And a lot of people play that smoke and mirrors game, and you know, it's just, that's football today, and you know, it's life. You know, it's getting good at a few things, and what sets people apart is not so much what they do, but the great effort behind what they do on a daily basis, and that's where we want to be.
I know this is a guess on your part, but about how many players you think are going to be out there this year who did not have a spring training?
Well,
because we missed this year.
Yeah, and it's tough, you know, and Tank, you know what we're dealing with, and you know, it's easy to get caught up in the numbers, and yeah, spring, not having a spring really hurt, and that's where we really in our setup, in our scenario in the school, we really don't have one period where we get all our kids together, all our athletes, all our football players together. We don't have that, and so when you take that scenario and then you remove spring training where you have a chance to get a hold of them before they leave for the summer, that makes it a little tougher.
And they have buses.
And they have buses, and now no spring training, no buses. Some of them help pay their bills at home. And I'm with them on that. I understand. And we try to make concessions on that. But at some point in time, and I'm doing them a disservice if I keep overlooking, keep saying, well, okay, don't worry about it. Keep keep, you can only bend so far. And at some point, they got to learn a lesson of life hitting them in the mouth. And we've been through that in the past, and we'll go through it again if need be. But we're struggling right now. But boy, I like our kids, the ones that we got out there. I really do. And we will be a better football team, provided we pull those kids in. I've got to do a better job of getting them there some way, somehow, some way. And I'll go home tonight or this afternoon on my way home, and that'll be bouncing, roll around in my mind is what can I do? How can I get them here? How do we overcome? How do we teach toughness? And so it's a matter of being there for them as a role model, and sometimes you all know that role model has to teach you a hard lesson, and whatever it takes, we gotta find a way, and so I'm all in on that.
Coach.
Go ahead. I appreciate it. You touched on the limited numbers, earlier, the limited time in spring camp, but from the kids that you do have, the small group, have you seen a different level of hunger that you might not have seen in years past with these guys?
Well, I'll be honest with you now. Our kids have worked hard when we have them, and I've seen a higher level of athleticism. I've seen kids maturing. Without mentioning his name, we've got a kid, one of our captains. He's a year ago, he was a young guy having to play. Boy, he looked good in a set of pads, but boy, was he soft. But I'll tell you that young boy, if you look up now, and I weighed him the other day, he's now 6'4", 252. And he just turned 16 in May. And we've had several kids come on like that. They were having to play as young kids because of the numbers problem. And now they're maturing and growing up, and we've got 4 or 5 kids kind of like that. And so I really like that group, but like I know, like we all know, when you put them out there and it's nonstop and it's 48 minutes of gritting your teeth, and you turn around and there's nobody behind you, you're in trouble. And so the hunger's there, improvement's there, but I've got to do a better job of getting those kids out of their homes and getting them to make that drive and getting them to take that next step. When they wake up sore and wake up tired, I got to get them to hit that ground running. And I heard a guy say one time, in the process of 24 hours, on a daily basis, on average, we make 5,000 decisions. He gave an exact number, but it was over 5,000. And I've got to get them to buy in and make that decision. And when they do understand that, and they all learn to apply, they're going to be better workers. They're going to be better daddies. They're going to be better husbands. And we all know that's the key to life. And so I like our group. They're hungry, and they're working as if they are winners, and they are.
Coach, one of the things that you and I get the pleasure of talking about just about every Friday during fall football is the fact that your faith is a big part of you. How have you kind of let that handle and help you decide how things are going to play out since school shut down in March and through up to now? How have you kind of let that guide you personally, but also more important, or not more importantly, but with your football team as well, to guide these young men?
Boy, that's a good question. And I just as you question yourself, as you start reaching and grabbing hair to pull out along the way, I tell myself I'm here for a reason, and it's to have have faith and not worry and put all my energy in the right direction, put the energy in toward the kids. And, you know, I always hope and pray that, you know, I can get them to live beyond that hurdle in life. And I know that there's a reason for me being there, and I know what it is. And you know, I love my job. I love my place. Don't tell me how many wins and losses we've had there. That doesn't matter. It's a daily battle, and I'm happy to be there.
Coach, one final question. Speaking of this year's team, only a few seniors last year, so I know a lot of guys got experience.
Right.
That has to help going into 2020.
It does. It helps, but you know, it helps if we have momentum in that consistency, have momentum in our work habits, have momentum. You know, the experience is a great thing. Sometimes people say, you know, boy, it sure is a good thing you got everybody coming back, and the bad news is everybody's coming back. But that's not how I feel. And I'm when I say it, I mean it. We've got to. You know, I heard Coach mention earlier that their kids don't even play, hadn't played Pee Wee football. Well, we've had no Pee Wee football in that area. We get a lot of our kids that we have to show how to put the pads in, and they really don't understand anything about the game. And so it's a process, and dadgummit, I'm still excited and glad to be there, and I'm glad to be doing it. And you know, our kids, you can see them growing, and I've just got to get the numbers situation to spread out. I got to see them. I got to teach them to be more positive role models, to reach out and let those branches grow out wide and pull some people in. And you know, we got to make it bigger than what it is right now. Right here, we've got a good small group, but we got to get that thing bigger. We'll work on it.
Coach, thanks for being here today. Good luck to the Brindlee Mountain Lions in 2020.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks.
Me too.